What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are taking a look at quarterback Aaron Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers, going over his fantasy profile for 2020. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button for us. Get subscribed for more videos like this one, going through all the fantasy relevant players for 2020, getting you guys ready for your drafts. But without further ado, let's take a look at Aaron Rodgers' season last year. So coming into a new offense with Matt LaFleur taking over at the reins at head coach, finishes the year with just above 4,000 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, only 4 interceptions on the year, a little downtick in his typical rushing yards, finishing with 183, and only one rushing touchdown. Not much room there for more rushing touchdowns outside of Aaron Jones taking 19 to the house. Finishes with 282.3 fantasy points, 10th best at the position, and 17.6 fantasy points per game, 13th. So for where you drafted Aaron Rodgers last year, this was obviously a massive disappointment. This team definitely showed a shift to be a more run-heavy team in 2019, and based on the off-season moves, the draft, it doesn't look like the Packers are planning on doing anything differently this year. If anything, they might even want to be more run-centric, with taking a guy like A.J. Dillon in the second round would definitely signal that. And when we look at the fact that the only improvement they really made to the passing game for Aaron Rodgers was giving Devin Funchess a tiny prove-it deal after basically a wasted season over in Indianapolis, it's not a great situation for Aaron Rodgers to be able to step up massively from where he produced last year. When we look at his game-by-game stats, obviously he had 4 weeks where he finished as a top 3 quarterback, so he still does give you the ability to hit that ceiling, but outside of those weeks, you really only had 2 other weeks that you were actually happy that you started him, and one of those weeks was in week 17, which most people don't play fantasy anyway. So Aaron Rodgers was a pretty big disappointment last year outside of best ball formats. If you had him in best ball, you're pretty happy with the 4 weeks that you got those ceiling plays out of him, but he never really gave you confidence in when you could actually start him. And a couple of those big games, the game against the Raiders and against the Chiefs in week 7 and 8, I mean, that came without Davante Adams. So even if we expect and say, well, Davante Adams will be healthy for this whole year, I mean, most of the games that Davante Adams was healthy were the games that you weren't ever really that happy with Aaron Rodgers playing in the first place. So we just look at the game-by-game stat line. It's hard to really paint a rosy picture of what we expect in 2020 unless Allen Lazard takes a massive step up or Devin Funchess is able to find himself and actually become like a red zone monster. And part of the reason, too, that Aaron Rodgers' stats were suppressed was he didn't hit 30 touchdowns, which was almost a given whenever he would play 16 games up to this point. Obviously, Aaron Jones taking a lot of that work. We do expect there to be touchdown regression for Aaron Jones, so I do expect the touchdown count to tick upwards for Aaron Rodgers this year, so that could definitely give him a little bit more of a floor week in and week out. Obviously, going multiple weeks with 0 or 1 touchdown is what really kept him from ever really hitting his ceiling and kept his floor incredibly low. I don't expect that to happen again, like the Dallas game where Aaron Jones hit 4 touchdowns. I do think that the floor will be a little bit higher for Aaron Rodgers this year, but the real question is the ceiling that he provides for you is not anywhere near where it used to be, but at the same point, he's coming at a massive discount this year. So let's take a look at a few other stats now. Obviously, stats can only mean as much as what I'm trying to portray. So what I wanted to pull here was try to give you a little bit of hope if you do still view Aaron Rodgers as a value pick. He did finish last year with 94 deep ball attempts, which is the second most in the entire NFL, and he had a 32.2% deep ball completion. So that's pretty bad. 25th in the NFL. Definitely saw a downtick in his completion rate going deep down the field. Now, it's chicken or the egg situation. Obviously, he had a lot of missed throws, but also dealing with the receiver core that he had. You can make an excuse for why that happened. It's kind of again, potato, but finished the year with 34 money throws, number 1 at the position. And if you need a true definition of a money throw, go back and watch the game against the Chiefs where Aaron Rodgers threw that absolute dime to Jamal Williams in the back right corner of the end zone. That is the definition of a money throw, a throw that requires exquisite accuracy and skill that most people in the world would not be able to make. So still has that highlight reel ability. It just came at a less the rate in which he was able to make those plays was less this year than we remembered in the past. He still finished the year with a 7.4 accuracy rating, which was number 7th in the league, and his receivers combined for 34 drop passes, which was third most in the NFL. Of course, devil's advocate to that is the fact that the receiver core really hasn't improved. So, do we expect any of these guys to take a massive step forward? I mean, Geronimo Allison is gone, and a couple of the guys that were injured early on might get a chance to take a step forward. And we do know historically the Packers have had a good run of being able to train up receivers. Davante Adams looked like a bust the first couple years of his career, so maybe we'll be saying the same thing about Allen Lazard, Jamon Moore, or Equanimous St. Brown. But at this point, I'm not happy that any of those guys are even being uttered in the realm of a starter. Davante Adams is great, and everyone else outside of him, I'm very nervous about. Jay Sternberger didn't really get a chance to show us anything last year, so he could be involved a bit more in the passing game. And if they really wanted to improve the passing game work of Aaron Rodgers, they just need to get Aaron Jones lined up outside more, use him more in that Austin Eckler role, and get him a bit more involved in the passing game, and that would really help Aaron Rodgers. He finished last year also with 183 rush yards, which was right in the middle of the NFL. That is something that also hurt his floor. Typically in years past, we're used to seeing Aaron Rodgers get close to 300 rushing yards, so seeing that dip down definitely hurt his average fantasy points per game. And he did actually have a lot of red zone attempts last year at 85, which is fourth most in the NFL. They just didn't turn into touchdowns, but you could definitely weave a story that he'll see a positive regression in his touchdown to counterbalance the negative regression for the touchdowns for Aaron Jones. So I guess basically the way that I'm spinning it is there is room for growth for Aaron Rodgers to finish better than he did last year, and the fact that you can get him typically around quarterback 12, there's positive regression possibility, but at the same point, it could still be another frustrating year where you never really know whether or not you should be starting him. But because he's Aaron Rodgers and has that ability to put up a 40-point game, you're always going to feel uncomfortable when you feel the need to bench him. So maybe just avoid the headache by not taking him in the first place. Where we have him going right now, we have him projected to have a little bit of regression in a positive regression in passing yards, getting up to 4,100 yards. We have him getting 28 touchdowns, but again, that could easily peak over 30 if he's able to convert a few more of those red zone attempts. Davante Adams last year saw a massive decrease in his touchdowns. We expect that to go back up. But again, outside of Davante Adams, who's going to be catching the touchdown passes, we don't really know. Having getting about 207 rushing yards and one rushing touchdown. That puts him right under 300 fantasy points, so he's in a pretty big tier of guys finishing right around that spot. So the upside is there, but because of the lack of receiving weapons and the tendencies of Matt LaFleur to want to run the ball more, I can't in good conscience give him an upside rating above 3, because a lot of things would have to go his way, or he basically just have to go completely rogue for him to come anywhere near the ceiling that he used to be able to provide. So I love Aaron Rodgers as a player. I've watched him for a long time. He's been one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. And it's kind of frustrating to see the situation that he's in right now. And you could blame some of it on him with the way that he treated his coaching staff previously. Kind of created a sour environment that doesn't attract a lot of talent. If they would have been able to add a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, I would have been all in on Aaron Rodgers this year. I just don't have that much faith that Allen Lazard and Jay Sternberger can be an effective second wide receiver option. And Matt LaFleur didn't show us enough to prove that Aaron Jones would be given the passing work that he deserves. So it's probably going to be a fade from me for Aaron Rodgers, even at his discounted price. I'm more enticed to take him in best ball because of the ceiling, and then you don't feel bad when he doesn't make it onto your starting lineup when he has those negative outcomes where he doesn't finish as a top 12 quarterback. So best ball, love him, but for redraft, I feel like he's going to be more of an annoyance than an asset. So, but let me know what you guys think, and being completely real here, this could just be my pessimism as a Packers fan, seeing what our offense looked like last year, the amount of games we won by the skin of our teeth, I could just be very pessimistic and I could be missing something here. So tell me if you guys think I'm wrong in the comment section below, or if you completely agree, let me know as well. But we're going to continue breaking down the other assets in the Packers going forward. So hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one, and we'll see you guys in the next video.